This is President Trump. Smash the like button if you agree that it wouldn't be a crazy idea to add Max Caster into the Hurt Business.
Whoa, 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 hold up, all you Vince McMahon haters. Why didn't you bring this up? Why is MVP calling Bobby Lashley the Almighty in All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling? Hold on, I thought Vince McMahon named him that. I thought Vince McMahon gave him the Almighty nickname. You know, that same name that you make fun of Bobby Lashley. You people did not like that nickname. Why? You thought the big bad boogeyman, Vince McMahon, named him that. So in hindsight, Bobby Lashley gave himself that name, because why is he still using it in a different company? Let's talk about Seth Rollins. Most likely, Seth Rollins named himself Seth Freaky Rollins. Most likely, Neville called himself the man that gravity forgot, because even in All Elite Wrestling, they still call him that. What about Edge? How come Adam Copeland calls himself the rated R superstar in All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling if Vince McMahon called him that? Once again, most likely, Edge called himself the rated R superstar. Vince McMahon never called him that. So let's take a look back at all the nicknames that you clowns always made fun of during the Vince McMahon era. Let's talk about Bray Wyatt, the Eater of Pussy. Most likely, Bray Wyatt called himself the Eater of Pussy. Most likely, Braun Strowman called himself the Monster Among Men. Because let's take a look back. There's no more Vince McMahon, right? So why is Seth Rollins calling himself Seth Freaky Rollins 2 years later, right? People did not like that nickname. People did not like the fact that the announcers, they were calling him Seth Freaky Rollins, right? People thought that was uncalled for. But you blamed Vince McMahon, but guess what? He's gone now. So you cannot blame Vince McMahon, because to my knowledge, how come they still call Seth Freaky Rollins that name? What's the point if Vince McMahon is gone, right? So let's take another look back at all these nicknames these past 4 or 5 years. How come they are still around? How come we still call him Seth Freaky Rollins? What about Sheamus, the Celtic Warrior? So who called him that? So if you look back at the last 6-8 years of all the names that the fans always made fun of, Vince McMahon always got the blame for it, because people thought it was mandatory to have a nickname. People thought that was a Vince McMahon call. So in hindsight, most likely, Dean Ambrose called himself the Lunatic Fringe. Most likely. Because to my knowledge, he still has the same gimmick, even in All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling. So I remember the debut of Bobby Lashley when he came back to the World Wrestling Federation. And people, they were making fun of the nickname. I think he was maybe 1 year in. This was when I think he was hanging out with Leo Rush, and they called him the Almighty. People thought that was a dumb nickname that Vince McMahon called him. But that was the narrative of the Smart Mark podcasters, not me. I keep it real. Like I said, this is a right-wing wrestling channel, meaning I preach common sense, just like how people voted for the motherfucking Donald. Because we preach common sense. Donald Trump preaches common sense. It was common sense that obviously Bobby Lashley called himself the Almighty. It was not Vince McMahon, because years later, he is in a different company, and MVP called him the Almighty. So I'm guessing that the World Wrestling Federation did not have that nickname trademarked. Why? Because Bobby Lashley called himself that nickname, which means, yeah, they cannot trademark it if it was his idea to give himself that name. But when he was in the World Wrestling Federation, yes, people did not like that nickname. But now he's in a different company. That line flew over your heads. And yes, bitch, I'm the only guy that is bringing this up. Nobody else even thought about it. People didn't think it was a big deal that MVP called Bobby Lashley the Almighty on Dynamite TV. No other podcaster was bringing this up besides me, bitch. Fuck you. So Edge is still calling himself the rated R superstar, even in All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling. So yes, Vince McMahon did not name him that. So that's proof that Bobby Lashley is a product of Vince McMahon. That even he knows Vince McMahon was a genius. He made Bobby a fucking star. Hence why Bobby still has the same gimmick that he had in the World Wrestling Federation. A nice suit and being in the Hurt Business 2.0. The Hurt Syndicate is the Hurt Business 2.0. Which means, yeah, they need Vince McMahon's backing. They need Vince McMahon's ideas in a different company. Same as Edge. This is the definition of the WWF bad or Elite Wrestling good. The fact that nobody talked about how MVP name dropped the almighty Bobby Lashley. That's what he called him. Go back and watch it. So he is just another line of ex-WWF guys that kept their nickname from the World Wrestling Federation. Everybody thought that Neville hated being called the man that gravity forgot. But on multiple occasions, right? On multiple occasions, these past 4 years, the commentators have been calling Pac-Man the man that gravity forgot. Recently, Nigel McGuinness called him on commentary the man that gravity forgot. So, by that logic, don't you think Pac-Man would hate it if Nigel called him that if he did not like that nickname? That's proof that Pac-Man, Neville, was the one who called himself the man that gravity forgot. You all thought it was Vince McMahon. Because, let's be real, when it comes to these dumbass fans of fake pro wrestling, they view Vince McMahon like they view Donald Trump. Look here, bitch, not everybody hates the Donald. Not everybody hates Vince McMahon. Bobby Lashley has never said not one bad word about Vince McMahon. And he worked with him. I never worked with Vince McMahon, but Bobby Lashley did. So please, shut the fuck up. Vince McMahon ain't no bad guy. He was a genius that made you all fans of fake pro wrestling. And I'm done.